But then I had another thought since yesterday, because when the young people were saying that they found that their families were splitting up, even where they used to be united. That there was even something about some members of the family climbing out of poverty and having to cut off the other members, because I find, there's a dilemma. When graduates begin to do well, and they're the first one in their family to get their high school diploma, or have a nose to go to college, the first one in their family to own a home or a business, then all the other members of their family who have nothing begin to need and pull on them. And so there's like a pulling down, but then on the other hand, there's a pressure to cut off, right? None of which is good. And so I have not...
Well, okay, can I...
Right, no, let me just finish the thought. So today, it occurred to me that we should start... that we should start making grants to the successful young people explicitly to be used to help their family members who haven't done as well.
Something closer to that.
Yeah.
The issue of cutting off isn't like, I never cut my nephew off because I wanted to cut him off.
Right.
And in my situation,
Right.
it wasn't resources. But
Right.
there is an issue of resources, and that's where society can play a role. I mean, that's what we do policy and whatever. And once you have a role model, so I was talking to people in West Oakland and the Mardi Gras Indians in New Orleans, and essentially what they said is that once one of us is succeeding, the dilemma is this country does not provide benefits to for people to follow you. Everything rests on you.
Right.
And the fact is, when I watch the Vietnamese, what I tracked is how people got out of poverty. And when people are getting out of poverty, their kids were doing a whole lot better. If that's what we really care about, then let's look at those examples. And what ended up happening is that there wasn't the accumulation of capital and access to resources and whatever within that community, but that we can provide. So it isn't just creating the role model. When the split happens is when it is clear that somehow there is some program who have exceptionally helped that one person, but the rest of us don't have access to anything. Unless we build that infrastructure for other people to follow, we've wasted a lot of money on the role model. So you just have to be careful about that ripple. Otherwise, we're never going to reach that tipping point you want.
So we have a few more minutes left, and I guess I'm curious about where you all have these conversations usually. Who do you see where do you see your space in terms of you all being peers in similar missions, sharing information? Do you have spaces, online, offline, where you're able to connect?
Well, we meet with families.